Hey, what's up, Shellfish Virgin Gang? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Today on something I just feel like showing off from the Yield collection is going to be this figure set, this display figure set, this environmental undersea display figure set. Comes in a set of 3. Got these from GameStop for something stupid cheap. They were practically giving them away. I think I had points too, and it basically just brought down next to nothing. These figure sets right here, the ones I'm showing are going to be for Horsey and for Poplio. Poplio is my favorite Sun and Moon starter. These ones are really nice. Like, there's so many figures Pokemon actually makes, the vast majority of them being great. It's always nice to pick up cards, always nice to pick up plushies, always nice to pick up a bunch of stuff. But I mean, picking up figures and stuff like that, hey, it fills the shelves great. It's great little memorabilia, and usually it's really not that expensive comparatively to picking up other Pokemon stuff. They usually sit for a while. I like picking them up every now and again. Anyway, want to talk about something that I'm a little bit of an expert in, talking about Japanese cards once again. And of course, it's going to be about something with prices. Not really. I've collected Japanese cards for a good long time, and I've watched the climate of that stuff change, man. Over like the last 7 years, especially. Like, I've seen where people just didn't care about them, to everyone caring about them, to everybody trying to buy as many of them as they can, to the grading market just fucking exploding with them, to slowly but surely people kind of reverting back to I don't really care about them anymore. And, you know, some people genuinely do like them. I'm someone who fucking still likes Japanese cards to this day. And some stuff has dropped significantly in price. You can definitely shop around and look at. I'm going to show you what I want to talk about, and it'll kind of make a little more sense, right? So right here, got an Instagram, we got card price check. This is not what the person is. This person didn't do anything. They're just comparing the actual prices of Umbreon VMAX alternate art cards, and they're going between the English version and the Japanese version, as you can see, with the English being, you know, close to $500 and the Japanese version topping at about $1,400. Now, $1,400, that is a lot of money. However, that is not really as much as it used to be. I do think some of the Japanese chase cards are dropping. I don't think the hype for some of the stuff was real, especially for full art trainers. I don't think people genuinely like them as much as they say they do. I do think some people like to collect them. However, I'm more willing to bet that people kind of were doubling down, tripling down on investments and flips as opposed to actually liking the cards. And as a result, you'll see some trainer cards that were kind of crazy going for a good little bit cheaper than they actually were. Definitely shop around. There are some deals if you missed out on some cards you wanted. I've been picking up a couple myself. Maybe I'll show them off in a little bit. But like this Umbreon VMAX right here, that is a good example. Still expensive as shit though. Like I said, that's not really the problem. What got me and what I wanted to talk about was just how crazy like the actual consensus it is for people who actually collect these cards and people that just it's nuts to me, because one of the comments right here is, imagine paying 3 or triple the price for a card you can't read, simply because it has better quality, and the better is in fucking quotations. Low IQ collectors. Now look, I don't really have a problem, and look, I do think that Japanese cards are a little bit expensive for what they are. And look, back in the day, and I tell this story all the fucking time, like, they used to be the cheaper option. Like, Japanese full art trainers especially, I know some of the new people here just don't fucking believe me. They were cheaper. Like, fucking Sightseer, the Erica's Hospitality from Tag Team All-Stars, fucking Licia, Wix, some of those fucking crazy cards that go for something stupid. Lily cards, that really expensive Lily, yeah, that was like $200 at one point. And some of those other cards, like fucking Sightseer, were like $30 when this actual cards came out. They weren't this explosively high volatile market that we're experiencing now, where people are just going all in on certain cards and people are buying a bunch of them and causing the prices to go right up. Look, collectors didn't want that, okay? And Japanese collectors definitely didn't want that either. We think it's just as ridiculous as the people are saying this stuff. The problem, and where it stems from at this point, is where they're saying stuff for like things like you can't read the cards for Japanese. They're better quality, and just like the low IQ collectors that do that stuff. Bro, like that's some really weird, goofy shit. Like, first of all, for cards you can't even read. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess Japanese collectors can't read Japanese, right? There's a lot of people who are in Japan who speak Japan. Hell, there's people that aren't Japanese that can read and speak Japanese as well, but they can't read it, right? That's just something right off the bat that people can't do. No one really in the comment thread below agrees with it. It just got quite a few. It's the top comment that has the most likes and interactions on it, so naturally it's getting traction. It's just such a crazy take for people to be like, oh, Japanese cards, they just can't read them. Look, that's something that people can change. Instead of just fucking fully investing in like, oh, these cards are worth all this value. Oh man, these people, man, they can tell you anything about any fucking card. They can be like, oh, in a PSA 10, this goes for this. Oh, there's only fucking 50 of this card ever graded. When it comes to learning a new language or fucking trying to decipher Japanese, nope. Can't do it. Too much work for me. I'm not going to do that shit right there. I can't do it. It's beyond me. But let me fucking put hours of research into like card movements and trends. Going to these obscure third-party websites, trying to figure out like what the next move is for this card. Which card's the next one to bank on? They'll spend all fucking day doing that, but they won't learn a new fucking language. Get out of here. You can learn how to read that card super easily if you wanted to. The better quality thing, Japanese cards do have better quality. I mean, like, it's not even fucking night and day. Some of the cards that came out, like, recently or when they mass-produced Japanese cards, like they did with Shiny Treasure, to make it easy for everyone to obtain those cards, to make booster boxes affordable. Yes, at a little bit of a cost, it's going to have print lines and stuff on it. However, still, the quality on those cards are way better than anything in fucking English, man. The actual texturing for it with the thinner Japanese cardstock, it is definitely a good bit better. And like I said, the cards used to be cheaper in that too, and they used to always fucking come back with that stuff too. Why do you think the actual grading market is capitalized on Japanese cards? Because they grade better. They are better quality. They generally get cut better. And for the most part, the quality on Japanese cards has just been far superior to anything English has been putting out. Not that I think you should pay 3 times the price, but once again, that wasn't the collectors that did that. That was the money bros, like the fucking people that are talking about prices and things like that, validating the actual card price. If you don't like that card, fine. You don't want to pay for that card, cool. But all the money bros now all of a sudden going like, Japanese cards, what? Imagine paying 3 times the price for something. Yeah, that's you guys that did that shit. You guys are the ones that paid 3 times. I didn't pay 3 times the price. I didn't pay fucking $1,500 for my copy. I paid close to $400 when it hit its all-time low. I fucking pulled the trigger, got that card, and thank God I did, because I don't know if I ever would have got it ever past that with the prices. Could go all the way back up. Could drop kind of low. You never really know with Japanese cards. It's probably going to hold a little bit, but same time, I'm glad I have the card. I don't got to worry about that shit anymore. And look, I'm not saying anything about anyone wanting to do collections and stuff like that. There was also some bullshit in here about like Korean cards as well. I don't think I fucking have it saved. But like people talking about how Korean cards are trash and they basically don't mean anything unless you're a Korean collector. And like it's basically devolved into pure value. And people will fucking shit on value, but then shit on value the other way too. Oh, this card's not cheap. It's too cheap. This card's not worth anything. The Korean side of the shit just isn't worth fucking anything. And then they'll go to the Japanese side. And they're like, oh, this shit's way too expensive. This is literally just people that are like they're so Japanese obsessed. They're just fucking weeaboos, man. But these same people will buy Japanese cards and flip them and make that money, but they'll whine about it in these forums, man. I just fucking can't wrap my head around. Like, Japanese cards have gone through such a complete turmoil the last 5, 6, 7 years. And as someone who's collected them the entire time in that span, I just can't I can't wrap my head around that. I can't fucking wrap my head around how people are bitching about cards getting like a little bit cheaper, or like some of the Japanese cards holding value if you yourself are on a money-centric page. Like, I just don't understand the bullshit you guys have with that stuff. You can't win. And, like, the bashing of, like, the other language cards coming from, like, English collectors especially is just insane. Oh, it's too expensive. Yeah, well, we didn't do that. We don't want those cards to be that price. We actively tried to fucking say, hey, don't buy booster boxes at $200. What did the money bros do? Buy them at $200 and fucking validate the price. That's what the market says they are, and I gotta make YouTube videos, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that. And we didn't fucking do it. And yet there's people in the money fucking centric pages bitching about prices that the fucking collectors did not do. We did not want that shit. The money bros did that. The investors did that. The people buying $200 booster boxes did that shit. The people buying $2,000 raw copies of fucking Umbreon VMAX. Y'all did that shit. Not us. That's all I got. Appreciated versions. It's just, I don't get it, man. Like, you can't win with money bitches. They say, like, we complain a lot. Those dudes complain far more than anybody, and they have bigger pussies than anybody else in this fucking hobby. Anything else. You talk bad about their money, they're getting whiny. You fucking talk good about a card, but it's not worth anything, they fucking get whiny. You talk shit about grading, they get whiny. You talk shit about raw cards, they get whiny. Dude, you can't win with those guys.